In today's news, France votes on the pension bill, US intel leak leads to arrests, and a malaria vaccine signals a potential cure. According to a statement on Thursday by the French Interior Ministry, around 380,000 people participated in the 12th National General Mobilization organized by the unions against the government's pension reform plan. However, according to the General Confederation of Labor, France's largest union, the number of protesters actually exceeded 1 million. Massive displays of public anger continue as a result of the March 16th decision by Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne to utilize an article of the country's constitution to pass the highly unpopular pension reform bill without a vote in the National Assembly, after the government failed to gain a majority. As a result of this unilateral action, the reform bill is considered adopted, with the gradual raising of the retirement age from 62 to 64 coming into force, making it so at least 43 years of work would be required to be eligible for a full pension. Following weeks of protest and unrest in France, the ruling over the controversial pension reform plan will be carried out by the Constitutional Council this evening. They will either accept it as is, or reject some portions of the reform text. The council is also expected to make a ruling on the left wing's proposal for a national referendum over the pension reform. The Constitutional Council's role is to make sure a law is in line with France's constitution prior to enactment. It's staffed by 9 people, all above the age of 64, with 2 being handpicked by Macron. Their discussion and votes are not made public. In the typical fashion of supposedly free and inclusive capitalist democracies, the genuine will of the French populace and youth, displayed through record strikes, marches, and demonstrations, is left up to the decision of a handful of people with entirely different class interests, who will never live to see the consequences of the things they vote on. What's more, quote, due to concerns over unauthorized gatherings that could put pressure on its decision, Paris police have issued a decree banning protests near the Constitutional Council until Saturday, further reinforcing that public will should absolutely not influence the decisions of this minuscule council. Polls continue to show that a majority of French people are opposed to pension reform, with union officials stating, as long as this reform isn't withdrawn, the mobilization will continue in one form or another. China's trade with Russia continues along a strong upward trajectory in the first quarter of 2023, with an increase of 38.7% from the previous year. This comes as a direct consequence of Western sanctions pushing Russian trade and capital towards the east. North Korea has announced the successful test of its first solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. State media confirmed the launch of the Hwasong-18 this morning. The key difference between these and previously developed nuclear weapons by the Koreans is their ability to be put in always-ready mode, as the missiles can be pre-fueled and remain perpetually ready for launch. In a continuation of our last episode's positive news, the top negotiator of Yemen's Houthi movement said peace talks with Saudi Arabia had made progress, and further discussions would be held to iron out remaining differences. Reports state that the warring parties have begun an exchange of over 900 detainees. In U.S. news, a 21-year-old U.S. airman will appear in court on Friday in connection with a leak of highly classified military documents about the Ukraine war and other extremely controversial U.S. foreign policy practices. In a show of force, Jack Teixeira was arrested by multiple military vehicles, fully kitted out soldiers with automatic rifles, and significant news coverage at his family home in Dighton, Massachusetts on Thursday. Teixeira worked as an IT specialist in the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts National Guard, based in western Cape Cod. We still don't know if the leak was intentional or the result of incompetence. In true modern fashion, the leaks were originally posted on a Discord server, and spread like wildfire from there. In positive news for the day, Ghana, one of the world's most seriously malaria-stricken countries, approved on Thursday a new vaccine for children to protect them from the deadly disease. The approval was based on a satisfactory evaluation of the quality, safety, and efficacy of the vaccine submitted to the FDA, with a 75% success rate. This is a monumental event for Ghana and the rest of Africa, as malaria has been a major cause of death on the continent, especially among infants. Having a vaccine that can protect children against this horrible disease is a groundbreaking development. That's all for today. We'll be back on Monday with more news. If you missed them, be sure to check out our previous episodes by following the links on your screen. As always, you can support the show and get the news in text form a few hours early by becoming a patron at patreon.com/firstthought.